upon request, somebody asked me through YouTube on one of the videos, would I show how to make a skirt out of old pair of jeans. So the first thing you want to do is rip the inseam apart. Get yourself a single edge razor blade. It makes it so much easier than trying to pick that out with a seam ripper. And if you want to go back and top stitch later, they do sell the heavy duty jean thread that you can try and get it to match the thread that you already have on there. So it just depends on what it is you want to do. Alright, so I ripped out my skirt. I first have to make it lay flat. So I have to take the crotch. Now it depends if you want this ragged edge to show, whether you want this in or out. If I want to conceal that, I want to tuck it back in, and then I want to take this point and fold it so it lays nice and flat. Then I want to pin it in place. And then I am going to sew it. I would probably stitch right with a dark thread that matches right along here so you can't really see it. Now, in order for me to determine how wide I need this piece to go to finish my skirt, I need to decide how long I want my skirt. My jeans, you see, is ripped right here. 23 inches is good for me at my knee. So I'm going to cut these off right here at my knee at 23 inches. Then I'm going to use this leg to insert this part to sew my jeans. So once I get this part stitched around and down to stay in place, I need to go in here and clip this. This is going to be my seam allowance. And then clip this side in the same place so that when these lay flat, I can insert this triangle piece right in here. The seam is sewn right in there. So now I just need a piece from here to here. So of course I would take this and cut both of these at the exact same time so I can get them both the exact same shape and the same size. So I could take this leg and flip it on top of this one and cut this one also. But like I said, you really do need to measure it. Keep them nice and straight.
What is the best tip that you have in order to cut it evenly? Would you fold the pans, or would you measure just
like
it?
I did. I like to measure. I like to measure from my side, but you know these pans are not even. So sometimes you need to take a ruler. If you have a square ruler, and you can line it up at the side. And then you take it and square it and get you a nice straight line. Use a chalk or a pen, whichever it's gonna you'll use to cut it off, to mark it, and then cut it. So this here is still a little crooked. I can go back and cut a little bit out the center. So after I cut the one, you saw what I did. I took the other one and put it on top of that and make them the same. So you know they're equal and they're shaped identical to one another. Now I need my inside piece to make my skirt so you can't see through my everything. We ain't advertising. So then I'm just going to take the one pants leg. You can cut it right along that seam allowance. That seam. Now I can keep this rough part in here if I like, or I can use the darker part in there, right? So I already pinned the back the same way I did the front. So I'm just going to take this and lift it up and place it in there. And I always like to center everything. So take it and center it so you can know it's lining up right in the center and that it's on grain. You want everything to follow the same grain. So while this is laid out nice and flat, I would take this and turn it back. And take this one and turn it back. And I'm going to use my chalk. If I use my chalk, I can mark a line. I know exactly where it's at. And then here my center with a slight little curve shape at the front. match those two up. I'm going to get this little triangle shape. Here. Then I would take my ruler or my tape measure and measure the same seam allowance. This seam allowance is like 3/8 of an inch. And so if I go and measure that as the same seam allowance, then when I go to the machine, I would just pin those together and stitch them together. And ta-da, you would have a skirt. So this is a really nice upcycle project. It's a lot of fun to do, especially if you're into upcycling and redoing stuff. So here, see that would line up right there. I had marked that on the inside. That was an accident. This on the outside, this one on the outside. Continue all the way up and then cut it out. Now my top, I would just measure up 3/8 of an inch and square it off so it just don't keep going up to infinity. All right, so you can easily take this right now and pin them together.
And then cut it?
No, and then you could take it if you weren't sure, and you could flip it out and then go back and pin right in that seam.
Oh.
And then you know it's lined up precisely. So if I take this and line it up right here, take my pin, take this and fold it back and pin it right in there. And then you can just stitch them together like that. Now, if you like I said, you can go back and top stitch this in place if you like, whichever way you want to do it to finish it. You can leave it raw like this at the bottom and let it wash and fray away if you like that kind of look. So the rest of it is up to you how you want to finish your skirt. So this is how you upcycle an old pair of jeans and turn it into a skirt. So if you have any other questions or comments or any other suggestions, just always shoot me a note.